he can get 111 in 2%. You know, I look fool at times.
It's time to take a question from the audience. Yes, please. Would you kindly introduce yourself first?
I am Rizwan Farooq. I have a question with Mr. Asrar that if the VAT is implemented and fortunately if after the broadening of the tax base, whether the federal excise will be duty will be reduced or it will be abolished with the passage of time and or it will be immediately effective, how the Federal Excise Act will be run along with the VAT?
देखिए इसमें एक तो ये है कि द मोमेंट वैट अगर आ जाएगा तो सर्विसेज पे तो एफडी जो है वो ख़त्म हो जाएगी, गुड्स पे रहेगी और फिर रेट भी आपका 16 से 15 पे आ जाएगा. और इफ़ व्हाट वी आर सीइंग कि अगर इफ़ वी आर एबल टू ब्रॉडन आवर बेस देन दिस इज द वे देन वी कैन lesser the rate for the next years also. But here we have reached to the saturation point in sales tax. We are going up every year because we are not able to enlarge our base. And for SED, yes, on services that will go.
Another question? Do we have another question?
My name is Saifuddin Adib. My question is directed to Mr. Shirani. What is this 1 trillion throw forward? It really bounced off my head, and we all believe that the PSDP came cleanly out of revenue.
The throw forward basically is let's say in a particular year, 2007, let's say, just take out of it, roughly projects worth 700 billion rupees were approved, right? And you can only execute projects worth in that year about 350 billion rupees. Now the balance you carry forward into the books and you release funds next year and you continue, so what happens is now that you reduce the space for new projects, you incur cost overruns because that project can only get 50% or less than 50%, and if in a normal course it should be finished in 3 years or 4 years maximum, that project, depending on what kind of a project it is, obviously, it'll end up being completed in 7 years. So you can imagine the cost overruns you're incurring and how you're blocking the system. So throw forward right now is about 3 trillion rupees, which means that if we stop all new projects and run a PSDP of 500 billion rupees a year, it'll take 6 years just to complete these current projects.
Adding to the question of my friend, all the panel are most of the accountants, that all are planning about the revenue, but another thing I think we are losing, that the profit is also linked with the saving in the expenditure. What we are doing for the reducing the expenditures of the government, but what our Qaidazam has basically told to us, but he has taken the budget from Pakistan when the Pakistan came into being. So I think
it's a very relevant question. And let me just tell you this, the previous finance minister, Shaukat Saab, gave a presentation to the cabinet on January 27th this year. And one of the things we had put in his presentation was a slide about the costs of bad governance, okay? And not just for this government, this was a general statement for all the way Pakistan has been managed for many years. Point number one, we are not taxing the people we should be taxing, which could be many of you as well. Or you're not, willingly coming into the tax net, which people generally don't. And we're missing out on what we call the tax cap, is about 750 billion rupees, which is 5% of GDP currently. Okay, that's one element of that. The second element is the leakages in the public sector entities, And I don't need to dwell on that. Pakistan Steel Mills is an example, and what's happened, and this is a recurring theme. This is a recurring theme under either uniformed presidents or under democratic governments, and currently we're losing 250 billion rupees through leakages there, right? And it's not just 250 billion rupees, because clearly, as you recognize, most of you are tax professionals as well, if these companies were profitable, they'd be adding value into the entire economic chain, and the government would be earning revenues, and the economy would be generating value, and therefore the loss is not just 250 billion rupees, it's a multiple of 250 billion rupees. And the third element is the leakages, for want of a better term, this is obviously euphemistic terms, but leakages in public sector procurement, including the public sector development program. So you're absolutely right. And the cost of the three, it's a back of the envelope calculation. Our estimate was that we're losing 1.3 trillion rupees a year by not managing our economy or our resources better. And that's 8% of GDP. So you're absolutely right.
Mr. Saqib, I would like to have your input on the how to expand the tax base in Pakistan, and how do you see the future of corporatization in Pakistan? Because in the present regime, there are different provisions with respect to withholding taxes as applicable to the corporate sector, and the small company concept seems to be fading away, as also covered by Haider Patel in his presentation. The issue of taxing inter-corporate dividends, group taxation, where there is a requirement of listing the parent company within 3 years, and also, last but not the least, the veil of incorporation appears to be defied when it comes to collection of taxes. So, given all these things in our existing regime, what future of corporatization do you see in Pakistan, and how can it will be instrumental in expanding the tax base?
I think Mahmood Sahab, we do all agree on one thing, that there is a need of tax base expansion. और इसके लिए मैं समझता हूँ कि over last 60 years we have made a lot of policies or lot of laws, and I don't see, honestly speaking, any major deficiency in the legal system कि भी ये हमारे laws में कोई flaws है. अगर flaw है, that is in the implementation. As Shabbar Sahab said, कि implementation both, compliance from the taxpayer side and implementation from FBR, both sides. Both have been deficient in basically compliance or implementation of the laws. तो need is कि भी अब हम really मतलब laws की बजाय बात करें कि how we can implement that. और FBR के पास sufficient data है, बहुत सारा इन्होंने मतलब over the period data bank भी develop किया, particularly from in the last 10 years time. और एक last opportunity दी गई थी जो कि which ended on 31 of December, कि जिन लोगों ने अपनी रिटर्न्स को इनकम डिक्लेयर नहीं किया या अंडर डिक्लेरेशन है, उसके बाद कोई फर्दर अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं दी जाएगी. तो आई होप एंड सपोज कि जी मतलब FBR के पास इतना इंफॉर्मेशन होनी चाहिए कि भी अब दे शुड बी रियली कैचिंग दोस हु हैव नॉट फाइल्ड देयर टैक्स रिटर्न्स और हु हैव अंडर डिक्लेयर द थिंग्स. ऑन द लीगल साइड जो हैदर ने बहुत सारी सजेशंस दी हैं कि कॉर्पोरेटाइजेशन मेनली बेसिकली हमारा जो एक टैक्स रेट, कंपनी का टैक्स रेट कम करने का सजेशन है और इंडिविजुअल के टैक्सेशन रेट्स की रैशनलाइजेशन की बात है. द वन ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्टिव बिहाइंड दैट सजेशन इज कि कंपनी को आप इतना टैक्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंसेंटिवाइज कर दें कि पीपल शुड मूव फ्रॉम एसोसिएशन ऑफ पर्सन्स टूवर्ड्स कॉर्पोरेटाइजेशन. तो दैट इज दी मतलब ये कि बुनियादी उसमें जो हमारा थीम है कि
आज के लॉ में वो आदमी बेवकूफ़ होगा जो कंपनी बनाएगा नहीं, और इसलिए नहीं कह रहा मैं, बिल्कुल क्लियर है कि आपने विदहोल्डिंग रिजीम कंपनी पे लगाया हुआ है, टैक्स का रेट कंपनी का ज़्यादा है, इंडिविजुअल का AOP और पार्टनरशिप का कम है. दुनिया का कोई टैक्स लॉ ऐसा नहीं है जहाँ कंपनी का रेट, इफेक्टिव रेट AOP और इंडिविजुअल बिजनेस से कम हो. ये पाकिस्तान के टैक्स की बुनियादी एरर है. हाँ, उल्टा है. पाकिस्तान एक दुनिया का वाहिद मुल्क है जहाँ पे AOP और इंडिविजुअल का रेट बिजनेस का कंपनी से कम है. तो ये बेवकूफ़ आदमी कम नहीं